Hey everybody, Stippling Vaughn. I wanted to do a short video. My videos, they usually average between 15 to 20 minutes. Might be even shorter than that, but I just want to go over when I went to the Baltimore Comic-Con, which was last weekend. I had pretty much one goal in mind, and that was to get as many signatures as possible for the creators who took taken part in the Liberty Brigade. Okay, when you got the Liberty Brigade, you got also the Villains file and the Heroes file. Okay, now I backed it to get that tier. To give you an idea of how long I've had been interested in the Liberties file and its significance to the Baltimore Comic-Con, this is the book that you get, the flyer, the program book that came with, that you would get each year when you'd go down to Baltimore. And this is the one for the Liberty Brigade for 2019. So I have been interested in this for a long time, and so I keep it. This is the bag that the actual book is in, and I keep this in the back. Okay, so I went down to Baltimore with one thing in mind, and that was to get as many signatures as possible. Okay, I even had it broken down that I had everything in. All the books came in. I had them in a Gemini mailer, and I kept it in my bag. I didn't keep it with all my other comic books I was looking for to get it signed. They were kept separate, so that way I was not going to miss out on any of those artists with the opportunity to get them to sign it. And I actually had a Post-it note taped to the side with a list. Okay, these are all the artists that worked on the Villains book. These are all the artists that worked on the Heroes book. Okay, so that way there was no taking up their time and holding up the line with other people just because I was getting a signature on a specific type of book. One thing I found out that I was very surprised about is that a lot of the artists who contributed to this book and the other two books, they hadn't gotten their copies yet. So a lot of them were seeing this for the very first time. They were very excited to see it, and they were very appreciative when I let them flip through it. One of the people who was very appreciative was Marty Bauman. Marty Bauman did all the faux ads that are in this book, and he was very appreciative of letting him flip through and see the ads. Almost every single one that I spoke to, when they would see it, the first thing they'd say is, "Oh, Michael Flynn's walking around here somewhere. He'd love to hear from you and hear your appreciation of how much you like this book." I don't know what Michael Flynn looks like. I probably bumped into him 18 different times over the course of the weekend and didn't even know it. So I am going to be sharing this video on YouTube. I'll be sharing it on my Twitter stream, and I'll be putting it on YouTube or on Facebook. On Facebook, I'm going to be tagging as many artists as I can who worked on this book. I would hope one of you who sees this video will forward it to Michael so he can see this. Okay, now let's get into who signed. Okay, so we're going to start with the Villains file. The Villains file. This year, when I went up to the Morristown Comic Fest, Garden State Comic Fest, Chris Ivey had him sign it. He did all the color work for all the books. This weekend, I had a Koi Pham sign it, and I had Rainey sign it. Okay, they were the only ones in this book who I was able to get signatures from. There were others at the show, but all honesty, I am not paying Jim Starlin or Scott Hanna $20 because they did one page of work in this book. Same thing goes with Mike McCoon or Joe Rubenstein. I am not paying your $10 or $20 just because you did one page of work in this. So there were some artists where it's like I was willing to pay, like, okay, I'll pay you $5 for a signature, but no, specifically when they're only doing one page of work, no, I'm not gonna bother asking you if you'll take a lower, if you'll charge me a lesser amount. Quite honestly, you've priced yourself out of receiving a signature from me, or receive the request for you to get your signature. The other book was the Liberty Brigade. Had a lot more people there to sign the Liberty Brigade. Okay, I had Mark Morales, Jim Calafor. They both signed the front cover, and then what I did was in the inside cover, you can see I have other signatures. I thought it was really nice how they have a blank page on the inside here, so artists, if they wish, they can just sign here instead of covering up the front. We've got Kevin McGuire, we got Jerry Ordway, and I believe that's Steve Conley. Yeah, Steve Conley. Okay, so again, really nice to be able to see these guys, ask them to sign it. Like I said, when I had Jim Calafor sign it, I opened up to that page, and actually it was a couple artists. When they were signing this book, I opened it up and turned to the page. It has Jim Calafor's artwork on one side and has George Perez's artwork on the other side, and pointed out that this could very possibly have been the last page of sequential work that George ever did. And a couple of them were like, yeah, I think you might be right. So that gives it extra significance to this book for me, in the fact that he was able to contribute to this book. That's one of the reasons why I was so imperative to get some of these artists to sign it, such as Jerry Ordway, who I've enjoyed his work for so long, and Kevin McGuire. So it was very important to get them to sign this book. So, and then lastly, we have the Liberty Brigade book. Okay, now I've said it in other streams, and you can probably see when I turn it into the light so you get the high reflection. This book cover has a pebbled finish to it. So when you look at it in a certain lighting, it looks like dust is forming inside the little crevices of the pebbles. And when you first look at it, okay, it's like, look, great book. But when you then look at it from an angle, it doesn't look good. And that's my only real true criticism of this book is, if you're going to do a second book, and according to Barry Keatson, the second book is being worked on, it's getting close to being completed. Don't go with this cover, please. If Michael, if you're reading this, please don't go with this cover. The cover, this texture on it, it makes it look dirty or pilly. Please don't. Please don't. Okay. I really wanted to show you guys the inside here. This signature is Michael Finn's. Okay. That one came with his signature. Then down here we have the Chris Ivy's signature. And then as we go down here, we just have more and more signatures of people contributed in the book. Let's go in here. So, oh shit, you guys are going to be seeing it backwards. Oh well. We got Sean Chen, we got Barry Keatson, we got Marty Bauman, and we have Chris Ivy. So it was great to have these guys sign the book. Okay. I am not blowing smoke of any kind when I say this is my favorite crowdfunded book so far. I've backed a lot of comics. I've started really over the last 2.5 years. I've really started to back a lot of books. I've been disappointed with some, but this is my favorite one, and I'm hoping that there's more books like this in the future. I'm really curious as to how they're going to do that. One of the things that I know that I mentioned when I was talking to Barry Keatson about it is I would love to see Jerry Ordway more involved in this project in the future because of his work in the All-Star Squadron. I would also really like to see more from Jerry. Remember, his mom owned a bar, and he knew growing up a lot of World War II vets, which I know a lot of them have to have a ton of stories. And I would love to see Jerry to do a book about, whether it be a fictional and it's a bunch of retired superheroes at the superhero version of the American Legion, or a regular dive bar where you have regular people mixing in with retired superheroes or active superheroes, and they're just swapping stories. Anything like that. But I think this type of thing, especially if, like, I don't know what type of direction this book's going in. It takes place in the 1940s during World War II, but what happens after that? Is they going to go into the Korean War right after that? Are we going into the McCarthyism, where all the heroes have to be registered with the U.S. government, or they have to retire, just like they did with the DC did with the Justice Society of America? I'm curious to find out. But like I said, when Barry told me that work is working, that he's working on, and others are working on this book, and the progress being made, I got very excited. Was very thankful to have him sign this book. And I'll be honest with you, with specifically a lot of these artists, it didn't matter if I walked up and they were in a bad mood and they're like, I don't want to sign any of your books, okay? Sure, but the only one I want you to sign is this one. This was my mission, was to get as many signatures as possible on these 3 books. I would say mission accomplished with how many I got done, with how many signatures I got. A lot of artists who worked on this, I almost never see. I looked in some of them, they're all West Coasters. The only shows they ever go to are out on the West Coast, as far as I know. So I may never get their signatures, but this is one series that whenever I'm going to a show, I'll always be looking at these books to see if even just one of these artists is going to be at the show to get them to sign it. So if you guys, I'll keep you guys, I'll always make certain through my social media when I know that there's a new campaign for this. I'll make certain it's that I share it. I hope if you see it that you'll share it too. This was a great book. When they do the second campaign, I hope that they make this book available for you to rebuy. If you do not have it, I strongly encourage you to get it. Beautiful, great artwork, great story. With that, remember, life is stressful, and that's why you only take it one dot at a time.